Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting PhoenixNAP channel partner webinar. I am so happy to be joined by the team from Cloud Genera, and today we're going to be talking about how you can help get your clients to the cloud and show a ton of value in the process, right? I know that everyone's looking to find different ways to help their customers understand the various cloud environments that are out there and make sure they're making the right decision. And we're going to talk a lot about that today. I am joined by some great guests, Brian Kelly from Cloud Genera and Peter Marr, Director of Channel at PNAP. Welcome, guys.
Welcome, William.
Absolutely. And then we've got some exciting things. Today, if you stay till the end, we're going to be giving away a raffle for an Amazon $100 gift card, as well as talking about a truly unique and special offer that we put together just for the people on the webinar today. I think it's going to be really exciting, something that you can take to your customers, and we'll cover that in a little bit. And so ultimately, why are you here, right? I think most of the people on this call understand that their customers are moving to the cloud, especially early adoption of things like UCaaS and SaaS. But ultimately, they're starting to think about how they move those critical infrastructure pieces into various cloud services. And so what we're seeing and what the community is seeing is this massive adoption of cloud infrastructure specifically, right? And looking at kind of 2020 numbers around 129 billion. If you look at some of the stuff from guys like Gartner that look at this for 2025 state of the industry, they're saying 230 to 300 billion dollars of spend in cloud infrastructure by companies around the globe. So I mean, I think that is just a huge opportunity for the partners on this call to get in front of some of that migration and really capture that market share. When they look at, when you look at the amount of the route to market for cloud consumption, what ultimately happened at the beginning is it was just direct to provider, which is pretty much the antithesis of how IT sales in general, whether it's network side or infrastructure side, have gone forever, right? And I know that some of the people on this call, you saw it kind of hitting your numbers. And ultimately, I think that there's a lot of room for improvement. I don't know if 30% is even number. I would guess something closer to 35-40% of all cloud consumption at some point is going to come through some type of channel partner. That's a lot of revenue, right? You're going to be hitting that $100 billion a year in spend through channel resources and channel sold activities. And so, I think that you have the opportunity right here to help your customer find the right solution for their environment and really make a difference. Show yourself as a trusted advisor for those customers and start to help them along the migration, the cloud journey, if you will, for their infrastructure adoption. The downside to some of this, and I know some of you guys probably have some, sort of expertise in this area, but the waste, the amount of just excess cost that's sitting out there in cloud infrastructure specifically today is massive, right? And I would say if you look at some of these numbers and if executives are saying that 30% of it goes to waste, it's probably 50%, right? Because none of these guys want to sound like they're just wasting money. And of the types of instances in public cloud, everyone loves to make the big instance. The one thing, I know I might just need this, but I'm going to make it 1 or 2 sizes bigger just in case, right? And that has a really unique impact on cost, and we're not going to dive deep into that today, but ultimately the bigger instances have more margin for the cloud providers, and it's a heavy increased cost as you kind of scale up some of those instances. So I think it's one of those things where people could do a lot of work to try to, take that down a notch, if you will. And then if you look at what is causing this, and I know Brian's going to talk a lot about various applications and ways that the cloud kind of can affect your bottom line in terms of where you're spending your money and how you can find that right cloud offering for the right application. But when you look at the analysis that HashiCorp did, we're seeing just like all of this just expense going into public cloud offerings for not the best reasons in the world. And you can see, COVID obviously was an outlier, although it could have been any kind of unexpected event, or a category of unexpected events in general. But really, I think a lot of it's just shadow consumption, credit card consumption, things like that, where people are just, adding resources without really any type of standardization or guardrails or budget approvals or anything like that. Whereas when you were spending the CapEx, when you were going and getting that budget for the year, you had to be really clear about where that money was going. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about, what you can do to help start your journey towards workload optimization. And it all begins with knowing what you have. It's imperative that you understand what it is exactly that you have in your environment, and you help your customers understand what they have in their environment. Then you begin to try to figure out, okay, what are these dependencies look like, and what should I start to put where? A, should it even go to the cloud yet? And B, if it should, where should it go? As part of this journey, it's about right-sizing everything and making sure that it goes into the right place, the right provider, the right type of infrastructure solution, and really, see if you can get that price-performance ratio to a maximum. And a lot of the ways that people are trying to do that today is through automation and workflow systems that help enterprises understand, okay, I've got all this automation out here. These are my guardrails. These are the things that we want to control by department, by type of infrastructure, whatever it is. And they help kind of drive this automation through their organization, but at the same time, not just letting people go off and spend whatever they want. And then I think at the end, it's just making sure that that circle comes back to the audit. Okay, now I've moved everything to the cloud. How do I audit what I have and then ensure that I'm staying on top of like how things are being spent, what the best practices are in the industry for consuming different types of infrastructure solutions, and ultimately, where I should put the right things. Helping your customers understand where those workloads should go is paramount. And so I think the team at Cloud General has done a great job of that. I'm going to turn it over to my buddy Brian. He's going to talk through some of this, and then he's actually going to show you a live demo of what this can look like for your customers. And then we'll get Peter in to talk about how we can engage on some of that. Take it away, Brian.
Thanks, William. And team, appreciate your time here today. So first, again, Brian Kelly speaking, CEO and founder of Cloud Genera. Our value proposition is all about workload placement and spend optimization. And one of the unique opportunities that PhoenixNAP and Cloud Genera are bringing to you as partners is an opportunity to differentiate yourself in the market. Many of the partners are gravitating towards this increased spend in cloud and the acknowledgement that this spend is inefficient. Right? The key points that William was highlighting in his opening remarks. One of the things you as a partner can do, leveraging the partnership that PhoenixNAP and Cloud Genera have created together, is give your customer value that they're not going to get from your competitors. On the right-hand side of this slide, you see what the competitors of your market are doing. They're leveraging these free vendor tools that everybody has access to. They're spending a lot of time in spreadsheets and in billable hours, right, trying to do the work, toiling away manually to determine what's best for their client, again, with a bias towards what they know and what they've been exposed to. And a lot of these alternatives that are available for your competitors are what we call yesterday's news. They report on what happened yesterday. They don't predict what you should do today to get a benefit tomorrow. And so with PhoenixNAP and Cloud Genera, we offer you this unbiased agnostic capability that automates a lot of what's manual with these tools that are not application aware, that are not built to help you look forward and see a path towards a strategy that makes sense for your client's business. And lastly, big part of the value prop to you as a partner is shorter time to value for your customer, which translates directly to shorter time for you to be able to sell more to that client, right? In essence, what we're giving is something that allows customer to make decisions off of data, not off of emotion, and to do it faster than these other methods that are available in the market. So that's a summary of the differentiation associated with what we're going to share with you today. Now let's talk just a little bit about what exists inside of this analytics capability that we're introducing you today. The core of the intellectual property that you're about to see is founded in a decision engine. Think of it as AI-powered analytics that take the needs of your clients' applications, the users, the service levels, the security concerns, the technology dependencies, and the budget. And this decision engine takes that profile of your client's apps that it auto-discovers, and it compares that against the suppliers that they would authorize for use. And so one of the things that's a unique value for you as a partner is that because you're not coming forward with a vendor-biased tool that's trying to drive a predetermined outcome, and instead you're coming with a capability that can compare different options. And this is where PhoenixNAP as a partner is being very progressive in that we're bringing forward a solution that will allow a customer to compare what they can do in their data centers to what they could get from the hyperscalers versus the value that they can get for PhoenixNAP, and leveraging these managed services that are available from PhoenixNAP. So again, stressing that this doesn't have a bias, but what it is built to do is help you as a PhoenixNAP partner guide your customer to the use cases where PhoenixNAP shines. And we'll cover some of those in the demonstration, and we'll also speak to that in the demo itself. Now, the output of this engine, scorecarding. Visualizations that tell the story and establish the plan for how to migrate a workload or how to modernize a workload, with a balance towards making sure you get the least expensive thing to meet your needs, not the cheapest thing that might be available in the market. And this is where a lot of clients are making mistakes, and it's where partners can provide a lot of value to them through technologies and solutions like the one you're being exposed to today. Solutions that look at service level, they look at security, they understand sometimes workloads need bare metal infrastructure, or they need large shapes of compute and network and storage that, even if they're available in public cloud, might be very expensive. So in these scorecards, you get side-by-side comparisons of what these different service models and what these different providers in the marketplace may offer. And for you, the benefit to you as a partner, you're accelerating that time to decision for customer. You're helping them standardize the decision-making process and pulling the appropriate inputs from the stakeholders who need to be involved in an organization to ensure adoption of cloud will be successful. And so that's a summary of Cloud Genera's intellectual property, our transformation and visualization engine of both cloud migration and modernization business cases. Okay, next what we're going to do is we're going to show you a live demonstration of this technology. And so what you should be seeing now is actually one of the primary outputs of the Cloud Genera platform. What CloudGenera offers is the ability to automatically discover a client's application portfolio. Doesn't matter if that portfolio is in the data center or if it's in the cloud, regardless of where that workload lives, this platform can discover its inventory, its utilization of that inventory, and the dependencies so that you have an understanding of applications, things that can actually be moved, things that can actually be modernized. This is one of the things that sets this platform apart is its ability to understand the apps and that inventory, the technology, the cost, the security associated with those apps. Now, what you do with that discovered information is you define strategies. You define policies for rehosting, replatforming, refactoring, or replacing workloads. And so what it gives customer, what will give your customer is a structured way to think about the type of change and the business case associated with that change that makes sense for their business. And so this is something that can be activated in less than 30 days. It's something that gives your customer ongoing value. The longer it runs, the smarter it gets at predicting when an application's portfolio is in a position to modernize, when it's in a position to move, and when it's in a position to do nothing, right? One of the few offers in town that doesn't try to force or prescribe a migration. If that workload's already best fit in the PhoenixNAP data center, but they wanted to evaluate whether it made sense in Amazon and Azure just to say that they checked that out, you could do that in minutes with this platform, not months. And the value to your customers is that you will help them avoid spending time on things where we like to say the juice isn't worth the squeeze, right? If it doesn't conform to our strategy to lower risk and save money and doesn't hit a threshold that would compel us to act, don't have us spend time there. Instead, orient us around where this platform and its algorithms are predicting we would get a benefit out of a migration or a modernization of different aspects of our portfolio. So a big part of what this technology does is it automates that decisioning of when to resize, when to rehost. That speaks directly to William's points about the inefficiency in cloud spend today. But it will also help you with these higher value things that customers are struggling with. When do I refactor? Maybe into containers or a new approach to data warehousing. When do I replatform? Right? How do I take advantage of platform as a service? How do I get off, unmanaged infrastructure? Maybe take advantage of some of the managed offerings available from PhoenixNAP, as an example. When do I retire certain applications because they should be consolidated and replaced? This engine helps automate that type of decisioning. Next, part of the output, where do the workloads go? And so here you're seeing a balanced distribution of workloads that belong in the PhoenixNAP data center in Atlanta versus the one that's in Phoenix versus the ones that are in Seattle. And then, as we mentioned, because it doesn't have a bias, if certain workloads are well oriented for cloud, these things that are general purpose and really small in shape and size, just as examples of use cases that sometimes fit well in this public cloud model, the engine will show that subset of workloads that make sense there. And then also an emerging interest for a lot of your clients, when does a hybrid cloud architecture make sense? When does it make sense to put my big data and my high performance workload in a PhoenixNAP facility, but then have these little, public cloud satellites maybe connect to it as a way to take advantage when the economics make sense of a hybrid cloud or even a multi-cloud architecture. So within one engine, you have the ability to present this type of insight to your customer base. Now, probably the most important point, even though we'll go to a slightly deeper level in the demo, this engine will calculate, even if the customer can't provide it for you, an approximate cost of what it takes to support their portfolio today. And now here are the key things for you as a partner. The engine's gonna predict a future state that likely will involve acquisition of new service. And that service can be, like resale of PhoenixNAP, resale of public cloud, but it's also gonna create business cases for your professional services as a partner. The engine will estimate the level of effort to migrate or to modernize based upon the strategy that your customer has. And in that business case that's created, it will outline justification for some of the services that you may offer to migrate and to modernize. So that future state cost is a run rate, right? $8.8 million of resale of the cloud, day two operations of the cloud. And that $1.3 million are the project-based services you could sell to help that customer drive to the net savings. And so the primary output of this thing is intended to help you as a partner guide your customer to the right treatments, the right venues for their applications, and then stack ranking of where they'll get the greatest business benefit, either oriented around savings opportunity or reduction of cost. One last pit stop we'll make in the demonstration, right? We're showing you a high-level executive summary of a portfolio and the recommendations, and then of course your opportunity to resell services and to sell your own professional services to enable that deployment, to enable success of that cloud adoption. The last thing we'll look at is how comprehensive these business cases are, right? We can look at transformation. We can look at geographic location and restriction of where workloads can run based upon that geolocation preference. We can look at some of the modern architectures that are available from PhoenixNAP that might deliver a smaller configuration to what you asked for, but equally performant based upon the underlying infrastructure and the performance that can be achieved. And then of course you can do comparisons of different providers, different license models, different deployment models, right? Shared versus dedicated infrastructure, on-demand versus reserved infrastructure. PhoenixNAP even gives you the flexibility to go month to month on certain use cases, something you can't easily get to as a lower cost option in some of these cloud providers. But in essence, whatever your customer wants to compare, we can evaluate through a single solution, right? We do all the work to understand what's available in the market. So you can just guide your customer through the applications that are interesting to them, that they're thinking about moving to cloud, and give them, again, a data-driven process to determine what good looks like, right? So in this case, PhoenixNAP comes out on top. Amazon's in third place, right? It's a negative ROI to deliver that Amazon solution. The scorecarding gives us gap analysis to think about things that might be cross-sell, upsell opportunities, right? Services you may offer or services that may get them into a higher value contract around what you're reselling them with PhoenixNAP. And it will give them that side-by-side comparison, right? The detail they need to have conviction that they understand that this bare metal cloud offering from PhoenixNAP would cost $109,000. The comparable solution in Amazon is going to have a gap. It's not going to be able to support the bare metal requirement. And it's also that VM you'd get would be more expensive. And so again, this doesn't necessarily stack the deck in PhoenixNAP's favor, but what it does do is give customer a way to fairly compare the options and ultimately identify what's best for their business. And again, for you as a partner, what's the benefit? It reduces time to decision. It creates clarity around the pipeline that you could monetize as a business. And just as a general rule, partners who've embraced these analytics you're getting exposed to today, for every dollar invested in the analytic, $200 in pull-through revenue is typically generated by that. And well, how does that happen? The engine's constantly recommending work to migrate, work to modernize. You get to monetize that. The engine's giving clarity on the SKUs and the configuration of those SKUs for customer to buy. You get the front end lead on reselling that. And so that's how using these analytics could help you sell more and help you get your customer to decisions faster. Okay, that concludes the demo. We will save time for questions at the end, or please feel free to put them into the chat. And now I'm going to hand it back to William and Peter.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brian. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share up again here. And so that everybody can see everything. There we go. Right. All right, now we're going to hear from Peter, our director of channels. We'll talk a little bit about how you can get there, and then I'll come back at the end to talk about the exciting offer that Cloud Genera and PNAP have put together. Take it away, Pete.
Excellent. Thank you, William, and thank you, Brian. That was really insightful, that demo, and I'm hoping everybody was as intrigued as I was. But now the big question of, how do we provide that proof of value, right, to your clients as they're navigating their way through these decisions, and utilizing and having these resources and these tools available are certainly the pathway to do that. So when you have clients that are, whether they're in a single or a multi-cloud environment, they're looking at lots of different options. One of the ways that you can bring not just your core values, but enhanced values is by bringing resources like this to them so they can really better understand where they sit in their decision-making criteria, when they balance it against a performance objectives. Are they looking, or do they need to buy any additional hardware to meet the objectives that they have today, right? Really kind of puts things right out there for them to see. I mean, Brian talked about the scorecard, right? Which I think is really a very non-biased way of looking at it, putting in all of the data to have it analyzed and really kind of kick out what's best for their particular environment that they're trying to do. And as we know, coming in here at the end of the year, clients are absolutely right now looking at their future goals. They're looking at planning out not just as their organizations, but certainly their cloud journey, and they're looking into budgetary means, right? So if you have clients today, which we all do, and they're looking and planning for next year, they're moving their company or migrating their company to more cloud environments, these are absolutely the types of conversations you want to be able to engage your clients with. These are the value resources you want to be able to show your clients that they can take advantage of, right? So whether they have immediate scalability needs, maybe they need to be more globally reaching, maybe they're just aligning, where they stand today with the current vendor versus other options out there. Or maybe they've made the decision that they need to move away from a vendor, but they're still trying to figure out where and who is the best resource for them to go to. So this tool that Brian just demoed gives them all of that insight as to what their alternative options are to best meet their performance objectives while balancing their cost objectives, right? Giving them that ROI that Brian just showed us in the previous example. So from a reseller or a seller standpoint, how do you begin? How do you begin to engage? How does this help grow your business? And Brian did touch on it quite a bit, right? One of the things that I heard, and I'm sure everybody else did, was shorter times of value. And I think we all, that's one of the things we want to lean in on with our partners, right? With our customers, is how do we provide the right resources, the right tools to meet the objectives in the shortest window of time possible to add the value to the end user. Here at PhoenixNAP, as a part of our ecosystem, I'm constantly talking to partners and sellers about tapping in and utilizing all of the resources that we have available for you folks, all of the pre-selling type stuff, whether it's on the technical side, the sales side, right into the scoping, and really trying to analyze what is the particular environment there, right? And that follows through the entire sales cycle and continues after the sales cycle in the post-sales environment, specifically with engineering and implementation, right? But more importantly is the reach from our strategic alliance partners, much like today what you're hearing, and other partners such as Intel, right? We have these valuable resources that we can extend down to our partner base and help give you the tools that you need to not only add value to your marketplace, but it adds value to your ecosystem, your internal portfolio of services, and allows you to differentiate yourself from others in the marketplace. Speaking of going to the marketplace, we've grown dramatically over the last few years, right? So we've got dedicated channel management resources in regionalized parts of the country. Reach out to these channel teams, speak with them about co-branding events, whether it's digitized email campaigns, if you're doing local, more social type events. There's a lot of things we can do, bring value to you, case studies, white papers, and of course, engaging in these demos that you just saw. That adds tremendous value right there that not everybody has access to, right? Continued sales, technical training, but more importantly, engagement and implementation, right? So these are the types of things that we bring to the table for you guys. So bare metal use cases. When is it a good fit, right? That's a question I know everybody's always asking, and we're constantly talking to partners about. And a lot of what you heard earlier, and I'll just repeat a few of them right here. So if they're looking at automating their IT resources, if they've got DevOps, different approaches to the marketing procedures, these become very, very interesting conversations to have. If they're looking to minimize their time or their spend as they deploy infrastructure resources, right? So maybe they need to move real rapidly. Maybe they have unpredictable workloads. Maybe they need to burst or grow organically or globally. These are all the areas that are great times to reach out to your dedicated channel team, get the conversations going early in the game. Again, back to Brian's comment earlier about the shorter time to value. The earlier we engage, the better we can help you scope and then get some use cases and get some of your clients through this demo cycle to let them see where they stand on their scorecard, right? As you know, many of these clients that you're approaching, they don't have the human assets or the resources internally to do a lot of this. That's where you guys add a lot of value, and we want to bring enhanced value to that to support your needs in the marketplace. So what's in it for you? Well, regardless of where you find yourself in the mix of different types of selling arrangements, the real value to you is how to grow your business, but more importantly, how to meet your clients' needs. How do you meet their expectations? And you do that by having the solutions and the options for different solutions to fit and be flexible to what your clients' needs are, right? So whether they're looking to scale, whether they have complex environments, whether it's a cost-driven scenario, there's many different levels of which they're looking for solutions for, and oftentimes it involves more than one, right? So this is where you get to build a bigger book of business for yourself in terms of you can go deep within your existing clients, right? So maybe you started with a client in a simple Veeam or a cloud backup O365 scenario. Well, you get to utilize these tools and the resources that we bring to the table to help you sell and gain more value within your clients. Go deeper, build a bigger book of business, and add more MRR. And by the way, when you win more with your clients, you're also helping de-risk your client from other competitors, right? So that's really important to you as you're building your business. Of course, we have evergreen commissions. I think everybody's excited about that. So the more you sell, the more you make, the bigger book of business you make. And most importantly, it's about adding value to your end users, differentiating yourself in the marketplace, and utilizing the tools and the resources that not only PhoenixNAP brings, but right here, as Brian spoke about, some of the tools that they bring with the demo and giving the scorecards to really let these clients make the best decisions for them. I think, William, are we at the raffle time now?
We are. It's that very, very exciting part of the webinar where everyone gets to hold on to their armchairs or their seats and see if they won $100 an Amazon gift card. I've got like a wheel of spinning thing. We put everybody's names in, and I hit the wheel, and it looks like Amy Gordon from TBI.
Ah, Amy, congratulations up there in Rochester, New York.
All right, so Amy, we'll be reaching out on getting you that digital gift card. And then I want to shift my focus to something that applies to everybody, right? We have partnered with CloudGenera and Intel to bring this proof of value exercise to your customers without any cost to you, right? It's a significant value. There's a ton of work that goes into this, but it is something that can really transform the way that your customer thinks about what you can provide them as a trusted advisor. Truly, I am of the belief that there's any one of these projects that are listed here, these candidate applications, any one of these projects can see significant benefit from engaging with PNAP and CloudGenera to try to figure out what is going to fit best where. And like Brian mentioned, the thing that I think is, I'm proud of from a PNAP perspective is that this isn't a how to get people to PNAP exercise, right? We have our data in the system, in the algorithms, just like everyone else. right? And ultimately, it is a truly agnostic decision engine that makes, that brings the value at the end in the scorecard, right? And I think that it's super important that, customers get that third-party validation. They understand exactly where and how the data was driven and the outcomes were reached. And you can give them, a truly agnostic view. That's something you're not going to get from the migration wizards and assessment tools of the public cloud. They're going to look at everything and go, yep, that works for us, that works for us, that works for us, right? And so please, if anybody on today's call, or even a couple weeks from now, into the end of the year, we are going, as long as you engage with us before the end of the year, we are going to work with you and your teams to get one of your customers set up with this engagement so that Cloud Genera can put, some of their applications, some of these candidate applications through the assessment, process, the proof of value exercise, I guess is the best way, because it's so much more than just a cost modeling assessment. It's so much more than just some random tool that, spits out a number at the end and says, downsize this and you'll save $2. It is engaging with your customer and the leadership at your customer's organization to try to drive transformation. And so with that, we're going to move to questions. If any of you guys had any burning questions that you didn't already submit, go ahead and send them now. I'm going to take a few of them that were submitted during the talk and see if we can get to them. Okay, Brian. So you knew this one was coming, right? How do I have any level of assurance that the data that Cloud Genera is giving me is optimal for my customer? Like, what is Cloud Genera doing to make sure that that's the case?
One of the largest investments we make as an organization to build and deliver this product is around the research team. This research team interfaces with all of the major public providers, but it also does equal due diligence on the available hardware platforms that are alternatives to those public providers. And so one way you can feel confident that your customers can trust the output and it's optimal for them is that we are doing all of the work to automate the research that's manual. And the beauty of it is we show our math, right? We show our work. So there's no voodoo, there's no black boxing around the analysis that's done, the calculations that are done. And so the level of investment we make and the transparency of how we arrived at the answer is how you can have conviction that your customer will trust and believe in the output that comes out of this engine. And then the last point on this is we analyze over 100,000 applications through this platform on an annual basis and have for many years.
It's the level of automation that you put in to making the outcomes truly be algorithmic and this decision based, right? I think that is the place that we think is very unique across so many different platforms too, right? Like PhoenixNAP is one of, I think, he showed on the slide there, just one of, probably 7 to 10 providers that are available there in the platform. And you're doing the same thing across all of them, where you're getting all the same data points and you're truly saying, okay, this application is best here, this application is best here. I think that is exactly what we wanted to bring. And then I think, when we look at, some people trying to determine whether it's the optimal cloud solution has been achieved, I think it's about how we're continuing to engage with the customer. As long as the customer is, or you guys as the partner are helping us understand, like, okay, what did they do with this data? That is how we continue to look at and refine everything, right? That's how Cloud Genera is going to help continue to improve their models and ensure that through all these different profiles that they've built over the years that they've been in existence, that the right outcome is being reached. even if the decision is ultimately different, the data points led to the right decision, or at least suggested decision. So that's kind of what I got from there. Okay, next question. When you look at, PNAP's solutions, how do they stack up against public cloud offerings, and what fits best where? And I think that, when we look at that, like, what do we tell our partners and our customers is the right fit for PNAP's services? I think increasingly what we're finding is anytime a customer is doing significant computational work in a public cloud, whether that is some type of AI ML workload, some type of just like analytics crunching, Elasticsearch, anything like that, that workload is likely better on some type of hypervisorless service, right? A bare metal cloud, right? And in those solutions that we're able to help our customers and their partners get to is an outcome that is innately hybrid. It's the ability to say, I'm going to take this application, I'm going to run it here, and I'm still going to be in Amazon, and I'm still going to be in Azure, right? I'm still going to adopt these platforms, and I'm going to use these services that they are so good at, right? PNAP doesn't have a full-featured vision analytics service where some type of managed AI engine is taking a video feed and making some decision. PNAP doesn't have that service, right? But ultimately, when you look at the cost of taking long-running services, long-running applications, and just parking them in the compute clouds of the hyperscalers, Azure VM, EC2, etc., you're just blindly, overpaying for the resources that you're consuming. And your customers are figuring this out. The place that you can truly start to help them is they're starting to figure out that the public cloud isn't the right place for every application, and they're starting to search for options. And you want to be a part of that search. I think that's the closing statement. You want to be a part of their investigation about what clouds they should go to. Are they optimized in the clouds that they exist in? And what are the options on the table for taking that workload and moving it somewhere else and realizing some new value, right? That is what Intel, PNAP, and CloudGenera have been able to put together. A service that will help you help your customers make those decisions better, more programmatically, and really have trust that the outcome that was reached was the right one. And so I want to thank everyone that came today to listen to what we had to say. Reminder, we are going to the end of the year. If you've got a customer that's looking to do something transformational to make a different decision, or even understand if the decisions they've made already are the right ones, right? Engage with us. Go to Peter, go to CloudGenera, however you get to us, we'll help you, right? Together, see what fits best where, right? And PNAP's help you, our customers, already current customers, we're bringing them to CloudGenera to try to understand what makes the best sense for their applications. So thank you everyone so much. Be safe, have a great weekend, and we will all talk soon.
Thanks, William.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks, William.
Thanks, guys.